Hi, everybody. I'm Zach, and this is Layer Quick Bytes, where in 10 minutes or less, I'll show you live all the amazing things that you can build with Layer. So let's get started. Today, I'm going to show you how you can connect Layer and use Layer data inside of Power BI. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll get rolling. So we're going to look at this through the lens of an example of a room-by-room survey for a building. So I have this Layer project that is available here that I'm sharing my screen with. And we'll jump through and I'll just do a quick run through of what this is doing. So basically, this is a Layer project with a room survey where I can see individual rooms and their survey results. So you can see that we've got the name, we've got some overall photos of the room, as well as the flooring material, condition, base condition, etc. So if I click into one of these, you can see that I can see specifically what these values are for each one of these rooms, as well as any overall photos or anything else like that. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to import a few additional items so that we can work with a slightly larger data set. So I'm going to share my screen that I have an import already started inside of Layer. I've mapped these values to Layer fields from my spreadsheet, and I'm going to import those elements now. So once those elements are imported, this will give us a little bit larger data set, and then we'll get started inside of Power BI with setting up all of this information. So we're going to come over to Power BI, and we're going to use the Layer API to pull in data from my Layer project. We are going to start by establishing a data connection to Layer. And in Power BI, the way we do that is I'm going to click up here under Home and click Get Data, and I'm going to choose the Web option. Now, first, this might look sort of difficult to get this right, but if you follow this formula, you can get Layer data for really any category listed here. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So the first thing is we start with is our root URL. So I'm going to type in https api.layer.team. And we're going to fill in a little bit more of the URL. We're going to type /projects. Now I need to provide a project ID for this item, and I'll show you this just on my web browser. I'm looking at a Layer project here, and we're going to get our project ID. Basically, it's this value in the URL right after the word project. So I'm going to copy that value, and we're going to paste it right here. Next, I'm going to add another URL part, and we're going to say /elements. And I'm going to add that tells us that we're getting elements from the project. And lastly, I'm going to add a couple parameters to tell it further what I'm looking to do. So we're going to add a question mark to the end of that elements section. I'm going to add another part to this URL that we're going to call category ID equals. And then we're going to basically get the category of elements that I want to retrieve. So here I'm looking at my room survey. The category ID is right after the word category in my URL. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it right there. And lastly, I'm going to add one more part. And what we're going to do is we're going to do an ampersand. We're going to say format equals simple. What this does is it simplifies the output, making it a little bit easier to retrieve inside of Power BI. All right, so the last step is I need to authorize this. So we're going to type the word authorization in my request header. I'm going to type the word bearer space. And the last step here is I am going to now paste in my API token. And where you can find your API token inside of Layer is under your account. You can find it right here. If you click this open, it'll open up your API key. So I pasted that value in, and now we're going to hit OK. So if this is all formatted correctly, it will pull in my results, my table that I can start working with. So you can see here that it already transformed a bit of this data for me. So I can see things like the increment ID from Layer, the category ID, category name, etc. But if I keep scrolling over here, you'll see I can see all of my field data as well. So we're going to stop here really quick and make sure this is all formatted correctly. So here I'm going to my survey status. This is a select value inside of Layer. And so I'm going to expand these and extract these values. So if I hit extract, you can see that it's going to tell me what items are present there. We could do the same for any of these. I'm not going to do this for photos, but we could do the exact same thing for photos or any other data that we need to extract or like drill down further in. For example, my wall finish, I could do the exact same thing. Can extract those values, and we could say maybe that's comma separated and hit continue. And you can see that it's going to give me a comma separated list of all of those values inside of Layer. The last field that I'm going to toy with here, well, actually two fields. I'm going to pull in the room survey, the room from the survey as well. And lastly, we're going to grab my created at date and make sure that's formatted correctly. Yep, it is. Okay. So one thing that we're not going to get into right now because just time, but you can rename all of these properties. And once you've renamed and formatted this list correctly, you can click close and apply. And so now this data set is available for me to use inside of Power BI. And let's start by just breaking down a simple material chart based on this. Oop. That's the trouble with doing things live. Let's see. It said it had trouble fetching the data. So I'm going to refresh my data set. Okay, well, so I have my fallback data that I'm going to use here just for sake of time. We can start to pull in and create charts from this information. So I'm going to start by creating a donut chart from my API data. And so what we're going to do is let's start by pulling in the floor condition itself into values. We'll also pull this into our legend, and you can see that right away I can see the overall flooring condition breakdown for my project. We could also create a chart that breaks down, a similar chart that breaks down the oops, there we go. That breaks down the overall flooring materials. You can see that I can see a breakdown now of the count of how many of these rooms meet those flooring materials. And one other adjustment that I'm going to make here is we can come up here and edit this query. And I'm going to make sure that my my actual created at date is formatted as a date. So that, oops, if we right click on this, we can change the type to date and time. And let's see here. Okay. Yep, created that right here. Okay, so we'll give that a shot. That is a date. Cool. right, so let's see if this shows up here. No, it's not going to. Okay, well, what we could do is we could, if I had that data set, we could quickly create a stacked column chart where we show the actual date when these items were created. And use that as a count for it. So like, let's say my ceiling material is going to be my y-axis. There we go. And we could format this by months. So this isn't that exciting because it all happened in the month of May here. But you could see this data over time inside of Power BI. And as you update items inside of your Layer project, you can also easily refresh this data in this dashboard by just clicking here. Again, our connection isn't cooperating, so we're running into errors here, but hitting the refresh button would just call that same API call all over again, and you would see your updated values here. Okay, so that's all we have time for today. Hopefully that helped at least show you how you can establish a connection in Power BI and start to summarize data inside of Layer. Join us next week for our next Quick Bites. Thank you.